Welcome to my three-part video series, The Ultimate Makeup Tutorial. In the third video of my three-part series, you're gonna learn how to bring it all home, adding color and warmth to the face, and I'm gonna teach you how to highlight certain high points of the face so that we can diffuse all those pesky fine lines that we don't want. I hope to see you there. Everything is a stipple. You never really want to wipe things on your face. Number one, you want to be gentle on your skin. You always want to be conscious of that. But number two, you want to be ginger. You want to sort of be light-handed with your makeup application because it's easy to apply more. It's harder to take away. So we always want to sort of build it up. Sometimes I'll just apply it to the apples of the cheeks. I like to apply it sort of closer to my eye, up here on this top ridge of my bone. And then I'll sort of stipple it going towards the apples of the cheeks. And just going back on this side, same thing, going up here. And it's so, you see the shimmer? It's like sheen. I love it. It's so pretty. So I'm going again with that foundation brush that I used earlier. And I'm just going over those areas just to pick up any microparticles that are excessive, that are just sitting on top of my skin that don't need to be there. And then while I'm doing this, I'm also pushing, I'm sort of marrying all those layers together in a love fest on your face. Going back to the blush brush, maybe a little bit on your nose. I'm not a fan of blush on my nose, but when I do that, I'll sort of go to the sides where I have the contour. I'm sort of further emphasizing that contour, but I will always go back with that concealer brush. No additional concealer on it, but to use it as an eraser because I don't want a lot of blush right here. I want to maintain this area on my face to be light. Okay, so I always finish my makeup look with highlighter. I think it's really important, particularly for mature skin, because highlighting erases fine lines. When you have a highlight, it sort of reflects the light. It doesn't emphasize the lines, right? A shadow will emphasize the lines, right? So this is a shadow, it's a line, but a highlight sort of takes away that line. So this is why I'm so conscious of that light zone because of the filler that I had dissolved and it's sort of wonky right here. So if I really highlight that area, it's not as noticeable in my opinion. And at the end of the day, it's about how it makes me feel. It's about psychology because beauty is linked to psychology, right? But I'm using this, I love this highlighter. It's called Pink Amethyst by House Labs. And I don't know if they still make it because when I went back and I didn't know the name. I went to Sephora a few months ago to get it. I thought this was it because it looked like it would be. And although this is really pretty, this one's called Rose Quartz and it's just not the same shade. So I'm gonna go back to that House Labs color. I'm gonna load my brush really well, dot it on my paper towel. And when I apply it here, now we're talking. I really want a good highlight. I'll put a little here in my nose. And just to reiterate, if my eyes were wide set, I want to avoid this step because I'm applying highlight to the inner quarters of my eye. Highlight is sort of reflecting the light. It's pulling my features this way, especially if I add the highlight here as well. And I don't want that if I have wide set eyes. If I had wide set eyes, I want to bring my features in. So a smoky eye would be your best friend, or adding a shadow on the entire lid would be in your best interest, unless you wanted that look of a wider set look. Okay, I'm just using this highlighter as an eyeshadow. I'm not only going on the inner eye, but I like to sort of take it all up on the lid, just in the front, just in that front part. Because why not? Do whatever you want. I'm gonna take that same blush brush with no additional blush on it. It's whatever residue is left in the brush, and I'm just gonna scrub it into my eyelids. Sometimes in a hurry, this is a great way to put on makeup, is just blush. Remember, don't look at makeup at face value, it's just pigment. Blush can be used for the face, for the eyes, for the lips, it doesn't matter. Love these little shimmer pots. I'm gonna use it on top of my dry lids. It's okay, because this particular product goes on wet, but then it dries. I'm gonna use the color Satara Sparkles. Just like what I did with my foundation bottles, I put a little bit of pink nail polish. So when they're sitting in my makeup drawer, I know which one is the pink one. But anyhow, I'm just dipping my finger into the product, just very little, and I'm just gonna place it right here on my lid. It's so pretty. It's just sort of a subtle touch. I'm getting my other finger and I'm putting it just a little bit, you're loading just your fingertip, and I'm just tapping it in the inner corner. So you're just tapping it in the inner corner right here. Now, I don't like to waste product. I still have, I'm just sort of like going right under here, very lightly, barely touching my under eyes. I have little lines there, and I want it I want the light to be reflected there. So I'm just barely applying product right under here. And I'm not gonna wipe my fingers on the paper towel. I'm gonna clean my fingers on my lip. Why not? But look how pretty that is. So again, it's not eyeshadow anymore. Now I've used it on my lips, so now it's pigment. Makeup is what you want it to be. I love lip liner. I'm using this one, Wherever Walnut from Makeup Forever. They look the same, so I'm gonna have to put on my little dot. Oh, you know what? I did put a dot. Look, I did put a dot. I didn't even realize I had a dot. I'm smarter than I thought. Okay, moving on. So I'm just gonna line my lips right now. The way I do my lips lasts for hours. Lip liner is contour for your lips. So you can go right on the vermilion line. If you have lips that are too large that you want to de-emphasize, you could go right below the vermilion line. Right in this area, I like to go just above the vermilion line, especially right under here. I like to go right below that vermilion line. I'm only going to do one side right now and show you the difference. Now, once you get over here, I'm applying it right below the vermilion. But once I start going into the inner corner of my lip, I'm going more into my mouth. You don't want that Joker mouth. And although this color is very a natural color, a neutral color, if you're using a darker color like a red or something that's more vibrant, you'll definitely have that Joker look. So you want to be mindful about where you're applying the lip liner. And so I'm going on the inner part of my lip at this point, just inside of the vermilion. Same with this part. But here I'm out of the vermilion. See how this side is fuller than this side? That's the power of a contour. Now, because my lips are lopsided because of that filler that I had dissolved, this side is thinner than this side. So although on this side, I'm right on the vermilion, on this side, I go over the vermilion to compensate until I get that fixed with filler. When I'm ready to do that, because I have PTSD over that. That was years ago. I do this and it works. It's not the best solution, but it's good for now. There are bigger problems in the world. Okay. Sometimes I'll get a little brush, little soft brush, and just blend that in. I really like the Makeup by Mario lip liners as well, and they come with a little brush on the end. I also love this color, Travis. It's one of my favorites. Let's put it on now to show you. Now, these tones work for me because I have cool undertones. I'm half Lebanese, half Cuban, so I have that ethnic skin that tans easily. But if you are someone that has lighter skin, pink undertones, light eyes, your color palette's gonna be completely different than mine. Okay. I can, at this point, set my lip, get a little bit more of that Huda powder, set my lips with powder, and then go over them again with a little bit more lip liner and then put on my lipstick if I really want my lipstick to last all day. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just apply my lipstick as usual. This is one of my favorites. It's Charlotte Tilbury. I want a little bit more contour in the inner portions of my lips, so I'm just gonna get this Milani lipstick. I'm just using it on the outer corners of my lip, just to create more dimension. And guess what? If you don't like it, you just remove it and we start again. So at this point, I'm going to do my eyebrows off camera, put on my mascara, and then I will show you the trick for eyeliner that is, to me, a game changer, and especially for those of you that want a little bit of a lift with a wing, but don't want to have a full-on wing and can't see or can't draw the best line, I'll give you a little bit of trick. So I put on my brows and my mascara off camera. And I didn't apply mascara to my bottom lash because I wanted to show you what I did there. I dotted a little bit of eyeliner on my under eye area, literally stippling it in very lightly, almost tickling the lash line. It's a tickle, literally. Then I take a dense brush and then I go into my lash line and I'm just using the friction of the lashes to do the work for me. I'm not even looking. I could feel where my lashes are and where my brush meets those lashes. Then I got my Mario palette, which by the way, this is what I initially scrubbed my eyebrows with. I took a dense brush like this. These are the kinds of brushes that I like to fill density in with my eyebrows. This is a $2 e.l.f. brush. I literally tap it in my product, like 1 or 2 taps, that's it. I blot it on my paper towel and then I scrub it into my eyebrows just to kind of fill in those density gaps. I use a light color, 1 or 2 shades lighter than my brow hair. You don't want to use a color the same color as your brow hair. You don't want your eyebrows to be too dark. But nevertheless, I did kick my brows up a notch. I love this eyeliner from NYX. And what I did was I just emphasized that bottom line of my eyebrows, went a little bit with a very light touch on the top line, used the spoolie side and blended all that in. All right, but here's the trick that I wanted to show you with eyeliner. So I applied my mascara. It's the Lancome Big Monsieur. So what eyeliner does is it mimics your lashes, right? The last lash of your lashes. So you look in the mirror, I'm looking in the mirror. I observe where my last lash is on the corners of my eyes. And I sort of kind of extend that. So I'm gonna apply a little dot right here where I see the last lash and I'm going up. I'm literally using an imaginary line to go up. Right now, I'm just creating the shadow. You could see this one compared to this one. My eyes are on the rounder side, but I want them to be sort of more elongated. And I can do that. I can manipulate the shape of my eyes using a contour. And in this case, the contour is a liquid eyeliner. Now I have sort of a template. I'm going against the grain, being very gentle on this outer corner because the skin is really thin. And that's it. Later on, in about 30 seconds when this dries, if I wanted to soften that line up, I can do that with that same brown shadow, the same brush that I used to blend my under eye area, and apply just a dot of brown shadow to sort of soften that line up if I wanted to, but I'm just gonna keep it like this. Any imperfection will hide behind my lashes anyway. I mean, no one's gonna go up to you with a magnification glass and say, that liner's not perfect, but I mean, it's good enough, and it's good enough. Now, I do like the edges to be pretty perfect, and the fact that they're not tells me that I probably need to get a new liner soon. But sometimes to make it more perfect, you just have to elongate it just a little bit more, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm gonna do the other eye. So before I do the other eye, see this one's pretty much done. See the difference? This eye looks fine, but this one's more elongated and lifted, and I've created that shadow that creates lift. Earlier, I had that concealer on, and of course I had that highlighter that I placed not only on the inner corner of my eye, all in here, and a little bit into here, but also really emphasizing it right here, because wherever you have a shadow, you have a highlight. I'm gonna do this side. And again, I'm just looking at where that last lash is, and I'm continuing the line so that where the last lash is, and I just continue from there. I'm using my end lashes here on the outer canthus of my eye. I'm using that lash as a guide. And the reason why I apply liquid eyeliner after I apply my mascara is because mascara is messy. There's little black dots on my eyes. So allow it to dry. Use those imperfections from the mascara to your advantages, because it's just, you're just building up the black pigment from there. Against the grain. See, I went against the grain, went this way to create sort of just to create the wing. And I already see a little from my mascara right here. No problem. If you ever get mascara on your lid, let it dry. Get whatever brush you have. And in this case, I'm using that same highlighter brush from earlier. And you could erase any little pigment imperfection with that. Not a big deal. Or get a Q-tip, dip it in a little bit of micellar water, and just dot it on those areas that you want to erase. Now, a wing like this may be too much for you, but it's not too much for me. It's just about understanding your facial anatomy, what works best for you. I could have a wing that's not as long as this, and I could have one that's longer, depending on the mood, depending on the event. But today I wanted to show you how I used my outer lashes as a guide for the wing, and I think it turned out pretty good. So I hope you liked this makeup series. I hope you learned something, a little nugget. And if there's something that you can teach me, please put it in the comments. I'm learning every day. I don't know everything. I only know that I know nothing is my philosophy. I think Aristotle said that. So if there's any products that you love, any tricks and tips that you want to share with me, I ask that you put it down below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Otherwise, have a great day. Mwah. Ciao for now. Now, I just taught you everything from A to Z that I feel all women should know about. You may only extract a few nuggets to work in your life, in your lifestyle, for your face. My job is to educate you, and your job is to implement what works for you. So don't feel like you need to adopt all these steps. Do what feels right for you. I'm 55 years old. I'm a mature woman, but I love makeup. I love glam. I love highlight. I love wearing eyeshadow, but you may love the natural minimal look, and that's okay. The point is, makeup is empowering, and something as seemingly insignificant as evening out our skin tone and adding a little highlight and color to the face can make us feel great, because when we know we look better, we feel better. At least I do. So thank you for spending time with me today. I truly hope that you learned a nugget or two. If you have any questions, please comment below. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, have a great day. Mwah. Ciao for now.